Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. I've shown something similar to this in the past, but being that we have a lot of new subscribers, I wanted to revisit this method, which I consider the best method to store dried grains if you are on a budget. Many think that preparing takes a lot of money, but in reality there are things that you can do that will save you lots of money if you just take a bit of time and effort to accomplish your goal. Obviously, what you see here are some empty 2-liter bottles of soda pop. And for those of you who don't drink soda pop, just think outside the box. In addition to these containers, I have also used empty juice containers, which have given me the same results. These 2-liter bottles have already been thoroughly washed, rinsed, and have been allowed to become completely dry inside. You want to make sure that you start off with a very dry bottle, or else your efforts will go to waste. Oxygen, moisture, and temperature are the biggest enemies of food. In addition to that, you can see here that I have some pretty inexpensive 50cc O2 absorbers. These come out to about 6 to 7 cents a piece if you buy them in the bulk packs of 100 or more. The more that you buy, the cheaper that they are, but I consider 6 to 14 cents, meaning using 1 to 2 oxygen absorbers per bottle, a very good investment to ensure that what you put in here will last you at least 25 years. Now today we are going to be filling up these bottles with some long grain rice. I purchased this long grain rice a few months back. You probably saw it on one of my payday preps. And the rice that I normally use for cooking, which I keep on a couple of containers here on my counter, is getting pretty low. So I figure I'd fill these bottles up and then go ahead and fill up my containers, and that should take care of this 25-pound bag. Excuse the tight quarters, ladies and gentlemen. I have a small kitchen, but it is functional. The first thing we'll do is cut open this bag and then simply start filling the bottles with rice using my handy dandy funnel. Now this is not rocket science, obviously, but one of the things that you want to remember to do is to make it easier. You want to make sure that when you're filling the funnel that you don't just throw it all in there in one shot, because it'll get clogged up and then you'll have to shake it around to make sure that you can get the rice in there. So I like to slowly put the rice in there and let it filter down all the way to the bottle. And once the bottle starts getting a little bit full, then I want to tap it down so that that rice can compress itself, getting more rice in there and getting more air out of the bottle at the same time. Let's put this on high speed for you, because I'm sure you have better things to do than to watch me pour rice in a funnel for the next 20 minutes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to caution you to not set yourself up for failure. Let's say you don't drink soda pop. Let's say you don't drink juices that you buy from the store. So you can tell yourself, well, I don't have these bottles and I don't drink this stuff. I can't get them. I'm sure you have friends and I'm sure you have family members that probably drink soda pop and or that drink juices that come in plastic bottles. I normally look for the plastic bottles that have the number 2 on the recycle triangle towards the bottom of them, and these are the ones that have worked for me for years. I have some containers that I have packaged away years ago that I'm going to share with you here in the end, so you can see that they actually do work. And now that we are done filling our bottles, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take out our kitchen scale and weigh each individual bottle to see just how much rice we were able to store in there. This will give you a good idea of how many bottles you will need in order to put away a 25-pound bag of rice. Let's go ahead and start off by tearing the weight off of an empty bottle. And as you can see here, it weighs 1.7 ounces. I bet you didn't know how much an empty 2-liter bottle of soda weighed just until this point in time, ladies and gentlemen. That is what I'm here for, to educate the masses. Now that we have this scale teared out, let's go ahead and put the full bottles on there and see how much they weigh. Well, as you can see, this one right here weighs 4.24 ounces. So roughly 4.2 ounces. I'm guessing that the rest of them will weigh about the same. The second one, 4.2 ounces, almost 3, but we'll call it 4.2. The third one, 4.2. And the fourth one, 4.15, but we'll call it 4.2. So altogether, we've got 16.5 pounds of rice in these 4 2-liter bottles. Now it's as simple as putting some oxygen absorbers in these bottles, and as you can see, that is why I went ahead and left a little bit of headspace so that we can fit our oxygen absorbers in there. Normally I will go ahead and put 2 oxygen absorbers per bottle. Now the rule for oxygen absorbers is 100 cc's per quart. And this is obviously more than a quart, ladies and gentlemen. The 2-liter bottle is closer to 2 quarts than 1. However, all of the rice that is inside of the bottles has taken up a lot of the space in there. So I'm pretty confident that there is less than 1 quart of air in each of these 2-liter bottles after we fill it up with rice. And here towards the end, like I told you, I'm going to go ahead and show you some that I put away for a couple of years now that I did the same thing using the same method, and I'll show you how you can tell that your oxygen absorbers are working well. Now, as soon as you get all of your oxygen absorbers in there, you don't want to take a long time to do this, because the longer that the O2 absorbers are exposed to air, the less effective they will be inside your container. So let's put our caps on. Let's make sure that we put our caps on nice and tight. All right, this is one of those times where you want to put the cap on as tight as you can, as long as it doesn't slip, to make sure that the top of the rim of the bottle is making a connection with the top of that lid, which will give it a good seal. As I stated earlier, I have a couple of containers just like you see here on my countertop, and I always keep them full of rice. So I always keep a 25-pound bag of rice in my working pantry. That way when these containers start to get low, I can refill them with that rice. And it just happened this time that I had some empty 2-liter bottles because we've had some guests over in the last couple of weeks. So I decided to fill in the 2-liter bottles as well. But the 9 pounds of rice that we had left over was just enough to fill both of these containers. And as you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2-liter bottles that we use to fill our rice. However, in the past, I've used juice containers as well. You can see that these are apple juice containers, and this one that you're looking at right here is sugar. Now you'll notice that the one that has sugar in it does not have an oxygen absorber. Same thing with this one that I use for putting away some pinto beans. Now this one I did put oxygen absorbers in, as you can see here. Now the plastic on these containers I consider to be better than the ones in the 2-liter bottles because they're a little bit thicker. However, the 2-liter bottles work as well. I actually have a 2-liter bottle here of lentils that I put away a while back. And look at this. This is how you can tell that your oxygen absorbers are working. You can see that this 2-liter bottle of lentils has kind of like collapsed in on itself because the oxygen absorbers have done their work. And the same thing will happen to these 2-liter bottles. They'll start to get sucked in. Now, depending on what kind of bottle you have, you can tell that these bottles are different shapes. Will depend on how they collapse in on themselves, but I can assure you that the rice that I just put away will be just as good as this one that I put away here that is full of lentils. I really do hope that you got something out of this, ladies and gentlemen, especially those of you that have just started your preparedness journey. What you're looking at here, ladies and gentlemen, this is food security. This will keep your family fed during uncertain times and in times of crises. It doesn't have to be the end of the world, and I wouldn't be prepping if I thought it was the end of the world. This is so that your family can have sustenance and so that they don't have to suffer at the hands of the decisions that our politicians make on our behalf, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're not prepping, this is the time to prep. This is the time for you to put away things, and there's really no excuse for you to not do so. This is probably the most inexpensive way that I've found to put away food for long term. It's nothing but insurance. Having said that, thank you very much for joining in. I truly do appreciate you stopping by and checking out these videos, and I do hope that you are getting something out of them. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I am out.